Evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Feingold. I'm the co-founder of Guiding Bright Minds. You are attending the Get Paid for Caregiving for families and children with disabilities. I'm excited about today's topic because there are always a ton of questions as you go on this journey of what is available, what's not available, why is it available, why isn't it available? But I'm so excited that you're here tonight to be with us, to be able to ask those questions, to be able to get the information. Share with you a little bit about Guiding Bright Minds. So my husband and I launched it close to 2 years now. And we are a parent of a neurodivergent child ourselves. And so going on that journey can be overwhelming, especially when, early on or throughout the process, you know that your child's unique, they're struggling, whether it's in school, in, daycare, in areas in which it could be loud, overwhelming, overstimulating, there's learning challenges, whatever might be going on, you get that gut feeling of, how do I help my child? How do I get them through this? How do I know where to begin? And so that's why my husband and I created Guiding Bright Minds, is to bring our community together to help parents on their journey, to hopefully provide you with great resources and tools. And one of the other big areas is to connect you with professionals. It's hard to know when you Google something, or when you're looking, or you get these different referrals, where do I go? Who do I go to? Why do I go to them? So at Guiding Bright Minds, we've got all of our professionals, interview them. Why do they do what they do? How do they help our amazing kids? And what does that dedication look like? And so we're so excited to partner with those professionals like Wellspring Care, and what they provide and how they work with families to make sure that they're getting what they need, and the tools and resources. And so what I always like to share is that, we're all on this journey together. So if there's additional tools, topics, resources that you're looking for, if you log on to our website, there is a place where you can go, and it says, I think, ask questions, and you can go and ask me questions. You can make comments, or, any questions on your journey, like, hey, Tiffany, we're looking for, a psychologist. How do we go about taking it from 1,000 different choices into maybe 3. So we want to help you through that and walk you through that and be there for you in the process. So after I'm done introducing everyone, I'll go ahead and put our website and the information in the chat. And as we go through the presentation, as I mentioned earlier, definitely go through and think about the questions you have. There's a Q&A section at the bottom, so please add that in there. And we'll be able to answer what we can at the end of the presentation. So thank you again for your time and for joining us today. So let me introduce, first I have Erin, is Wellspring's Director of Nursing with over 15 years of experience in Colorado, including at Children's Hospital. Erin knows the care for kiddos better than anyone else in the area. He is determined to make an impact at Wellspring by changing lives one family at a time. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Erin, for joining us. Bushran I always want to say it, but Alvaro, are supporting parents from the first time they met Wellspring through CNA training and providing care. The top priority is to make sure families are supported, connected to other resources, and know that there is a big and incredible community just like them. And I apologize, Jessica, I actually don't have a bio for you, so I want to make sure that you get introduced, but glad that you're here too, as far as a panel, and to be supportive. So with that, I will turn it over and we'll go ahead and get started.
Incredible. First of all, Jessica will have her own spotlight today, so she will share everything about her story. Tiffany, thank you for having us. I'm very honored to be here, and hello to everyone that is with us tonight, and to everyone that will be watching the recording. I know Tiffany's Guiding Bright Minds webinars are famous in town, so I'm sure many people will go ahead and watch them. I'll go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Can you see the presentation? Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're excited to explain more about how you, as a parent, can get paid for taking care of your kiddos, of your children who have special needs, which is something that I, in my experience, have noticed many parents already do. As a full-time job, they just happen to not be getting compensated for it. This is our team today, and along with Jessica, we already received incredible introductions by Tiffany. So excited to get right into it. Aaron, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you for having us tonight. I'm so pleased that people can watch us live and also a recording because, as it was mentioned, my name is Aaron. I am a registered nurse, and I've been in healthcare for over 20 years, and majority of that time spent here in Colorado. And one thing that continually came up in my experience in the acute hospital setting was families would come in, we would help as much as we could, and then they'd go home. And oftentimes we never knew what happened at home. How do we keep these children well? How do we ensure that they have better outcomes? And that's what ultimately drove me to the point where I said, we've got to do something different. And that's where Wellspring comes in. And Wellspring has been able to really look ahead. Where is healthcare going? And that's something that it's very near and dear to my heart as a nurse, knowing that there's not enough nurses, there's not enough CNAs, and we have children who still require care. And so thank goodness the state of Colorado many years ago looked at that and said, how are we going to take care of these children who deserve care? And in that model, they said, well, who cares the best for their own children? Well, their loved ones. And so this program came about in a way that a waiver is not necessarily required, which is great. I know that waivers is a conversation all its own, and I know that that's coming down the pike here. But what this program allows is for a registered nurse to meet with a family, talk through what is the care that is really above and beyond what most parents are delivering. And then utilizing this tool to help partner with the families to say, this is the amount of care at home that your child qualifies for. And then that's where Wellspring gets to really jump in and say, now let's get you through CNA school. And it's an incredible journey that families get to go on. And I'm excited because, of course, we have Jessica here with us, and I'm not going to steal her thunder, but you're going to hear her incredible story and from her perspective as a parent. And so I think the beauty of this program is that parents, as I said, who care deeply for their own children and know their disabilities or inabilities the best, now have an opportunity to better advocate and seek assistance. Some examples of diagnoses, just to throw a few out there. Children who have intellectual disabilities, who require special feeding, perhaps through a G-tube, have a diagnosis like autism, which can be scary, and many of us don't know where to go once that occurs. It could be something that a child is born with, cerebral palsy. So from day one, it's been a struggle. And so all of these diagnoses, that's where our nurses come in to partner with families to talk through, and also with our knowledge, knowing the level of care that's involved typically with a diagnosis. So we can best guide towards resources if we're right on the edge of, can this program help you or not? The beauty about this program is that it does go up until the age of 18. There's a lot of great work being done in Colorado to extend that, work with families. I think there's an incredible opportunity there. Right now, we're helping those 18 and under. The one caveat is, yes, Medicaid does have to be involved because this is a state-funded program. But here's the great part. If you're not currently on Medicaid, there's a lot of opportunities, and that's where we can come in and partner as well to look at what your family might be eligible for in the Medicaid process. There's a lot of workarounds, if you will, so you can still qualify for Medicaid and be part of a program like this. As I said, currently we only work with children, but as we continue to grow, we hope to expand that into adulthood. So with all of that said, I could talk hours and hours about the things that we want to do, but really what I want you all to do is think of your questions. If you can't ask them tonight and you're watching this later, I want to make sure that you have our email or our contact so you can follow up with us and ask at that time.
Incredible. Thank you, Aaron. So following up on what Aaron just explained, I'd like to provide everyone with the picture of beginning to end in terms of what the program looks like. So first of all, any parent can get in touch with us with an interest form that we have that takes around 60 seconds to fill out, and I will be sending that form here in the chat at the end of the presentation. And then after that, the next step is filling out a quick form that we fill out with our team, actually with Bushra, who is here on the call with us. That takes 5 to 10 minutes for our clinical team, being Aaron, to take a look and then doing an in-person or a virtual assessment. In that assessment is where Aaron and the team determines qualification for the program, depending on the needs that your kiddo has. Well, incredible. Once you qualify, it's time to get you in training. The training is an incredible experience where I see parents become empowered and feel way more confident in their ability to provide care of their kiddos. It's a beautiful experience that I see for parents, and we are here to support you throughout the entire process. Once you're done with that, a quick state exam, and then that's it. You're ready to start care and get paid starting at $19 per hour. I think I'd like to emphasize that this training that I'm describing, the CNA training, can be self-paced, and the more encouraged you are to fly through it, then the quicker you're able to start providing this care and seeing the results of your work. So from beginning to end, if you fill out this form today, you could be receiving this emotional, financial, and medical support in as fast as 4 to 5 to 6 weeks, and truly experience a life-changing process for you and your kiddo. Now, once you are joining the Wellspring family, what does this mean for you? Like I said, the medical support. Aaron and the rest of our incredible nurses are here to support you in providing the best care for your kiddo. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day, right? The most important thing to everyone is that the children are receiving the best care possible. Now you as a parent, for providing the care that I'm talking about, are not being compensated depending on how many hours and how many hours Medicaid determines you are eligible for. It can range between $15,000 to over $50,000 per year, and that is determined in the assessment that our clinical team does based on the hours. Now you have an incredible license, which is the CNA license, Certified Nursing Assistant, that enables you to work in other medical and healthcare organizations for many more years to come, and that is something that you will carry with you. It's important to clarify that we pay all costs upfront of this CNA training. So you do the CNA training for absolutely no cost. And then last but not least, you are part of a community of families that face situations very similar to yours and are here to help each other out. We are often hosting events for families to meet each other, to have access to other resources, and to really have conversations that empower everyone to lead to a better outcome, which is, again, the most important outcome, the health of your child. This community, is an incredible community that inspires me as an individual every single day. There are so many events for families. Like I said, we support parents during the training. Parents study together. We do study groups virtually. You have a Facebook group. We have a platform where parents share resources, other events, and just share questions in general. And again, the support that comes from these events is out of this world. You can see one of the pictures right there. I love it. That is actually Bonnie, the incredible music therapist, singing in one of our events. It is truly, we always have a blast whenever we all meet up, or on different parks of the city, different centers. We always try to switch it up and keep it as fun as possible. Now, we have the honor of having Jessica today join us. Jessica is actually a part of the Wellspring family, and it is such a pleasure for us to hear her story every time. I'm excited for you all to hear it today, and then we'll go from there. Jessica, take it away.
Sure. Thank you so much. So as mentioned, I am part of the Wellspring family. I am officially a parent CNA as of today, actually. Just got my skills exam scores today. So probably in the next 24 hours, I'll see that official license come through the state of Colorado, and really looking forward to celebrating that with family this weekend. So that's kind of where I'm at on the journey. I'm going to share a little bit of background about our family, just so you kind of know where we're coming from and kind of what led us to Wellspring, as well as sort of diagnosis and other resources in general. Just a little bit about the journey that we share as parents and caregivers of kids with needs or disabilities. And then, of course, happy to answer any questions as well during the Q&A portion. So our family, we were a little bit late to diagnosis, but hopefully right on time for supports. So once we kind of reached that stage in our journey, we jumped in with both hands, both feet, and everything we had. Our family, our son is internationally adopted. So he joined our family in February of 2017 at the projected age of 5. And because he was an international adoptee, we had some medical information, but it was pretty limited. So we knew he had epilepsy because that was diagnosed in country, and he was actually on medication for epilepsy, which is medication he still takes to this day that's managed his seizures. But other than that, and the fact that he was an English language learner, he had no English, and we knew that he was delayed in his native language of Amharic. He's from Ethiopia, and he did not start to verbalize until he was diagnosed with epilepsy and put on an anti-epileptic medication. So we knew language was delayed in his first native language. We knew he knew no English. We knew he had epilepsy. We didn't really know what that meant for our family. And then the rest, so as a 5-year-old, he also was, this fully formed person with an identity and a personality and, habits, good and bad habits that had been built through institutional and orphanage care. So we knew that we were going to be working on introducing foods and introducing language and introducing just the American culture in general, which was a huge transition. And as adoptive parents, we were prepared from the standpoint that we had gone through classes around what it means to be a transracial family and sort of what to expect in terms of adoption related trauma. And then we found ourselves on this completely different journey once he started school. And, it was apparent that there were developmental delays, but again, they were kind of attributing that to a lot of the institutional care and milestones that were missed in country because he just didn't have that foundation or nutrition or consistent medical care. So one of the first things we did was establish a medical care team at Children's Hospital Colorado. And so his pediatrician is actually an expert. She's the director of the International Adoption Clinic. So she was very well versed in trauma and adoption, and met with the team, and they saw a lot of things that they typically see in adoptees. So we were kind of sent on our merry way. And then when language just seemed to be really slow, and we just hit some struggles that did not feel trauma or adoption related, we got ourselves on one of many wait lists to get some further developmental testing. And then the pandemic happened, and we made some life choices. We decided to try some homeschooling during that time, because public schooling was pretty traumatic and rough too, in terms of getting individualized supports. And so at that point, when we were finally off the wait list and got some answers, that diagnosis actually just came this past March. So he was diagnosed with ADHD initially last fall. We didn't think that was the complete picture either. So we kept pushing and advocating and staying on wait lists, and then got our official autism diagnosis in March, which triggered a a recommendation for genetic testing since we have no birth parent history or really medical history for him. And so genetic testing led us kind of to our final ultimate answer, where we did learn that Hennick has a rare genetic mutation and is part of the Coffin-Cyrus syndrome family. A rare but growing community across the country and the globe that, thanks to the modern science and advances in genetic testing, we finally got a genetic explanation for his underlying comorbidities. So that gene explained the autism, the speech delays, the epilepsy, some other things like his long, beautiful eyelashes and brittle fingernails, and just other things that we just thought were Hennick, finally had kind of a genetic explanation and answer. So we just got that information this past spring. We finally felt like we had some answers, but now he's 10 years old instead of 5. And we felt like, again, we were kind of behind the diagnosis timeline. And so, like, what does this mean for our family? How can we improve supports? He'd been doing OT, speech and PT and other therapies for years. But now we kind of had something official on paper that we could start pursuing things like Medicaid and a waiver from the state of Colorado and those kinds of things. So I attended the Autism Community Resource Fair for the first time as a parent this past summer. And that's where I learned a little bit about Wellspring. And Alvaro's not lying, like it literally takes less than a minute to fill out that intake form. It's so fast. And then their response time and getting, like, I think I did it probably in the middle of the night because, that's what we do as moms. And so by the next morning, Wellspring had already reached out to me and we had started the intake process for pursuing parent CNA. Now I had left the classroom. I was a career teacher and I'd left the classroom in 2019 to homeschool Hennick and be home with him. And so we were really relying on my husband's income and kind of down to single income, and had made some sacrifices just to make that possible because we thought that flexibility with therapies and one-on-one instruction was what was best for him at the time, especially in the midst of the pandemic. So having an opportunity to kind of shift career paths that also meant that I was able to keep staying home and support my own child and the things that I was already doing. So we had gotten a home exercise program from his physical therapist, and now I could keep doing that, but do that and know that, like, I was also going to be supported and compensated for that. I was an English teacher by trade. So I'm also telling you that, like, you do not need to have a background in science or really any experience in healthcare to jump in with both feet and get supported and get through the program. So I would say if I can do it, any parent can do it, because Wellspring will walk with you literally every step of the way. So from the study groups to the check-ins, I mean, I've made friends with other moms. I just sat for my skills exam last Saturday, as mentioned, and a mom that we've walked through the process together. So we were in the same study groups and we went to clinicals together, and then we signed up and got the same assessment day. And then we both passed and we were able to cheer each other on, like, throughout the journey. It's just been so amazing to meet other parents like me. And I really went from a place of overwhelm, hopelessness, and kind of despair and the stages of grief when you kind of get that initial diagnosis to, and I'm hopeful. I now feel like I actually am formally trained to support my child in ways that I wasn't before. And this is kind of a bonus, but I'm also just thinking about ways that I can use my CNA license to support my aging parents, to support my sibling who also has developmental and intellectual disabilities. And so even though that's not the intent of the program, I feel like I can see all these other people just in my little network and sphere of influence that I will be able to help as things change. So huge fan and just incredibly thankful to Wellspring. And I know that special needs parents are some of the busiest people in the world, but I'm also telling you that prioritizing this program and prioritizing this for yourself is a great gift, not only for yourself and your family, but also one that's just going to continually give back to you. So even though time is tight and it can feel overwhelming, again, Wellspring will support you from intake to passing your exam and beyond. We have my supervising nurse is coming for a visit this Friday to check on us and see how charting is going. So I'm so thankful, and we'll just say that, again, any parent can do this and you will have tremendous support. So.
Incredible. Jessica, like I said before you started talking, it is always a pleasure to listen to your story. It's just so inspiring to see you and so many other parents out there join the community and really, in the end, see the results and see that that empowerment, that confidence when providing care for your incredible, incredible kiddos. I think I'd like to highlight a few things from what Jessica said, and it's really the support that comes from the community. I understand that the financial compensation from this program is life changing. But I want you all to understand that there is much more to it than just the financial side of it. And our mission is to help each and every one of you individually and as a community. With that, how you get started, Bushra, take it from here.
Hi guys, thanks for coming out today. My name is Bushra. So how we like for all of you to get started in the program, just like Jessica mentioned and Alvaro was saying, it takes 60 seconds. We have this the jot form link right here as well. What you can do is scan it with your phone as well, and Alvaro is going to drop the link in the chat too. You just click on the link, you'll add in your number, your name, and your email, and you'll get an automatic text from us saying, hey, it's Bushra from Wellspring, and we'd love to schedule a call with you. And then I'll give you a call whenever you guys have some time, and we'll get to talk about more about your kiddo and the history and your family and what you're dealing with. And then after that, if you guys have an extra 5 minutes, we'll go ahead, take care of that intake form right away, fill it out, and have our nursing team take a look, and we'll fast track the process. So if you guys have a minute, we can drop that link down here, and he just did. So go ahead and fill out your information. We'll give about 2 minutes here, and then we can at least schedule a call with you guys, get some more background history, talk one-on-one, tell you more about Wellspring. I know we've covered a lot of topics here, but sometimes having that one-on-one conversation is different as well, and we'd love to get in touch with you.
Incredible. Well, I just dropped the link there. We'll love it if people can reach out, can fill it out with their quick information, and we will reach out to you looking to set up a call so we can answer all your questions and get the process started. With that said, however, if anyone has some questions now, by all means, please share them in the Q&A section here. And we have some time here to answer some questions. But if not, I will sit here in silence, waiting for Tiffany to take it from here.
Well, thank you all. There is, as you said, there's just so much to learn and so much to know about. And Jessica, thank you so much for sharing your story. You know, I've said it before, as being a parent of a neurodiverse child too, to have the connections, to hear the stories from other parents, to be able to share what that looks like, you know, to let others know that you're not alone is so important. And how we just support each other and work together, and that collaboration, and then working, you know, as I mentioned, with, you know, amazing professionals that we have here. So I definitely appreciate that. There is some Q&A coming in. Do you have services like this in the state of Florida, and anything for those over 18? Who would like to jump in?
I see Monique, yep, asking that. We do not offer the services in Florida. We do not have services in Florida, and I do know that in Colorado, it is possible for those who are over 18. We don't provide it, but others do. So my hope is that Florida allows for the same services, both for kiddos and for adults. Aaron,
So
go
as
ahead.
far as searches too, do you have, oh, sorry, Aaron. And then also Aaron, I'll let you go, but then where would they search for when looking for services? What would be the best? So Aaron, go ahead. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, so I can answer kind of two things here. I think one, the state of Florida is considering a model like this. Really, the biggest hurdle is that it needs to pass as legislation. And so writing letters to your senators, your state lawmakers is one way to help influence this, which I know feels like kind of an uphill battle. But I think the other really great place to reach out to is a community center board. And those are pretty standard in a lot of states, but you can search for those on a web browser. And those are going to be the entities that help the state manage any state funded programming. And so they'll help direct you towards what services may be available. They're human, they're not perfect yet either. So it might take a few phone calls, call in a few different places, but that would be my suggestion for our participant who's asking about Florida, for both how do we get a program like this in Florida, and how you might seek one out if there's adult services.
Thank you. And Jessica actually just put in to the chat a link. So what's available in your state. So yeah, take a look at that, because Tony also asked about Wisconsin and what services are there. So definitely take a look at that link in the chat. Any other questions that you all have for folks at Wellspring that they can answer or address?
And if anyone that watches the recording has any questions, they can, of course, I mean, I think the best way to get in touch with us is to fill out the form, and then, you know, we can answer any questions over an initial call, no matter what the question is.
Yes, I would just add, and I will say this with an admitted Colorado bias, I'm a native of the state and have a lot of Colorado pride. And I know this would entail like a big decision, but I do believe, and this program is one example, that Colorado is one of the best states to raise a kid with disabilities or special needs, because of some of the Medicaid benefits, and the parent CNA program is certainly core to that. And I do know, as my network of families grows, many families are making the decision to move to Colorado, and we welcome you with open arms if that's something that you can do for your family. You know, we're not necessarily top ranked in education funding. There are other things that we still need to work on. But if you have a neurodivergent child or a kid with special needs, this is one of the best places, I think, that you could raise them in terms of therapy providers, supports, and programs like the Family CNA program. So just a little plug for the state of Colorado too.
Now that's a good point. I met some families earlier this week that moved here specifically for several of those, even the schools, because we have some great independent schools that really support our children. So I met two families who moved here specifically for that, but I know it's not doable for several people, but at least, you know, this starts that conversation of what's out there and what maybe, and to be able to, if you're not in Colorado, look in the state to see just what it is, to know that there is options too. I mean, that's the other thing is there are options, there are other ways in which services are available. Any other questions or chats that you guys have before, you know, we log off? We definitely have some time left. This was great information, but want to make sure that those of you on the line have an opportunity right now. If anything comes to your mind that you want to share. Is there any other, you know, webinar topics, since we're here and together, that you'd like to hear about? Share that in the chat. Are these helpful? I just, you know, for me, it's talking to so many parents and helping them on their journey. Any of you on there, whether you're in Colorado or not, you know, definitely reach out to me. When I send out the link for the webinar, it'll have my return email, the recording, so you'll have direct access. I can put that in the chat too. But would love to hear from you. Would love to find out more that we can do. So my email address, I'll just say it actually, well, here, I'll put it in there. But anything else that anyone has, do you guys want to add? I just want to thank you again for taking the time to present and for, you know, what you guys do every day in helping families and getting them, you know, this program and, you know, whether it works out or, you know, they may or may not qualify or whatever, but I know you guys are there to help handhold that process. So thank you for Wellspring
think-
and for all you do.
Tiffany, I don't mean to interrupt. I think Tony was asking a question about for a program like this, should they first go through Medicaid in
I
their
asked
state?
that question. Thank you for asking.
That's right. It's in the chat.
Okay.
And to answer that, you know, unfortunately, Colorado, New Jersey, and Arizona is in the process of getting this program up and running. A few other states are in the process, but they're unfortunately far behind. And so I think, you know, Colorado's probably got this the most ironed out of any state. But I think absolutely, you know, talking to whoever, you know, kind of drives Medicaid in your state. And so that's where the community center boards come in, is a great resource for you to start asking what those Medicaid services are.
Piggybacking onto what Aaron said, Tony, I think another thing that you can do is if you are approved for Medicaid, reaching out to your local Social Security office who has these benefits there, even your caseworker, you can honestly give them a call, shoot their office like an email. They know best on different programs that are even in place right now in your state, and they'll definitely be able to guide you through it as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you for
And-
seeing that. I did not see that.
Yeah, and I think one final thing, Tiffany, if I could,
Yes.
you know, having been a nurse for many years, I think the voice of parents is probably the most powerful that I've ever come across. And so, you know, a big portion of this webinar is, one, we want to educate, but also we want to empower. And so the reason we have a program like this in Colorado is because parents spoke up. And so I want to continue to encourage and support and tell parents that it's okay to raise a little ruckus. And if you see something's not right, we need to speak up about it. We need to keep pushing to make a change. And that's why we're doing what we do today, is because we heard parents and we want to make that change with you. And so thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Aaron, very much. So thank you for saying that, because yes, we have to voice our concerns and what we want to do. So yes, I appreciate that. Well, thank you all. I don't see anything else coming in or coming through, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, wonderful rest of your week, and keep looking for these upcoming webinars that we do. And just thanks again to all the panelists, all the attendees. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for having us. Really let us know if we can ever help with anything at all.
I appreciate it. All right. See you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Thank you.